I think yesterday was a big day. Little Super Bowl
day.
is a big day.
Man, it's so nice seeing the Super Bowl and Kendrick Lamar last night.
Oh, what a performance. I know. It was a lot of fun.
Crazy performance.
Yesterday was a big day, but I think today is a big day also. Isn't it? So I think it's your birthday, right? Is that how that works?
That's right. Well,
Is it
28, man.
already? Only 28.
I wish I was 21 again.
Oh, man. You look great. You look like you're 15 maybe. You look like you could be playing baseball still for Milpitas. They wouldn't know.
That would be great.
Get in the dugout for them.
I appreciate that, man.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
Well, welcome to the Cover Cal High podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Flipson, filling in for Jake and by our trusty, loyal, and birthday boy, Adrian Soriano, joining me.
What's going on?
We got a lot to cover today. A lot of exciting things to go through. I mean, some of our segments today will be going over our views from the lens as we usually do. We'll cover some big basketball games as well as some basketball previews. We have a lot of league races going on. And then as well as we'll be making some picks.
You're beating me right now.
We are. We're going to cover that. Trust me, I got a bone to pick with you with that. I'm going to say maybe rub a little dirt in your face, but we'll see how nice I'm feeling considering it's your birthday. I might cut you some slack.
Hey, don't cut me some slack, man. I want no mercy.
No
mercy.
All right, I'll remind you of that when you're crying.
Okay.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get started with our views from the lens, our best moments of the week. We cover a lot of games and a lot of sick and great moments.
Yep.
Adrian, get us started. What'd you like from last week?
I'm going to go with my game, Palo Alto and Milpitas. Wow, what a complete 180 for Milpitas. When they played Pali the first time at Pali, they weren't really hitting shots. And, man, Milpitas really took it to Pali this time. Jacob Rencher, who had 6 points in the first game, he exploded for like 10 points in the first quarter for Milpitas. And they blew out Pali, which I did not really expect because, Pali was really, really good, and Jarrell Clark was really, really kept under wraps for the most part. And, hey, here we go. And we're going to talk about this a little bit later about that league, but, man, that has some playoff implications for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure those two will see each other again. Good chance to see each other in playoffs.
I hope so.
In a very tight league on top of that. As you mentioned, we're going to be
league.
mentioning that shortly.
Yep.
But every game matters.
Oh, absolutely, especially now.
Absolutely. With all the games we're going to be covering here and mentioning, every game matters.
Yep.
It's a tight one. So out of all the games that we covered, I have to mention is Santa Teresa and Westmont at Santa Teresa.
You were there at that game.
I was there at that game. It went to overtime. We had some overtime basketball. We love it. Girls hoops. And it came down to Santa Teresa jumped ahead early in the first quarter, early second quarter. Westmont rallies, and Westmont pulls away for a good while.
Yeah.
Where it looked like his game over. I thought Westmont was going to walk away with it. Again, another tight league race there as well. And then Santa Teresa rallies late in the fourth quarter, where they come all the way back, a crucial free throw to tie it. And then on top of that, another free throw to win it, but doesn't go. So then we go to overtime, and Westmont, I don't know what spark was lit underneath them, but in overtime they just skyrocketed and were able to get that big win.
You finally got a good game.
Had a good game. Hey, finally
got
I've had some good games this season, all right?
No, there was like a string of like 3 consecutive weeks where, man, it was just blowout after blowout after blowout.
Sure.
Scoreless soccer games.
No, that's Mr. Bronstein.
Oh, dear.
Mr. Bronstein is on an
I don't know what's going on over there, man.
It's
like
crazy.
we all get goals in our games, but he gets no goals. He hasn't gotten a goal in like 5 of the soccer games that he shot. So
it's insane.
That's insane.
There's a part of me wants him to get a goal to be able to say he got a goal, but at the same time, I also want to see how many games he could go without he could get one. So you soccer teams out there, if you're thinking about maybe not scoring, let's make sure we line it up with Mr. Bronstein's sheets.
Well, you know what? If he's gonna shoot soccer in the playoffs, he's definitely getting a goal, one way or the other.
It'll happen.
It has to happen.
So he has to maybe wait till then.
Well, he doesn't have to wait long. It's only a couple weeks away.
Fair enough. So, okay, we mentioned about some big games this past week. I mean, insanity, chaos. Would you say maybe fireworks?
Well, definitely last Friday. Oh, my God. That was probably the most insane Friday that, we didn't really get some of these games. But
and talking about one of the games we didn't get, an upset city, I would argue, that insane East Bay League.
Oh,
we talked about
word.
the Coach Olmeyer, how it's the equivalent in the NFL would be any given Sunday, right? In the East Bay League, it's any day of the week, any day that ends in Y in that league, right? Where we had De La Salle and Cal met each other. They were in the Bears' den.
That's insane.
And
man.
guess what? Cal took
won.
down De La Salle 67-48.
Man, I saw that score on Twitter. I'm like, wait, is that actually like true? Because listen,
Had to clean your glasses and double check you're seeing it
right. I
right.
my glasses a little bit. I'm like, listen, I'm not knocking California. They're a good team, but
Great
De
team.
La Salle was expected to beat them. Cal got blown out by Doherty Valley, a couple weeks ago, and we kind of expected De La Salle to win. And then I see the score, I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe Cal's got some fight, and then they pulled away in the end, and I'm like, this is absolutely chaotic. Like, this is like World War 15.
Oh my God!
At this point,
not that.
And not only that. I know it's not on a rundown, but Doherty Valley and Dublin.
Yep.
Another
crazy one.
Well, it wasn't really. I guess it's an upset. I guess.
To an extent, sure.
And we were talking about that too in the office. Right. It's like, do we shoot Doherty Dublin? Do we shoot San Ramon Valley Dublin? What's it really gonna mean? And then it turns out Doherty Valley loses on Jalen Stokes' return game to Dublin. So
sure. It's, I mean, that entire league is madness. And so in case you missed it last week, we interviewed Coach Olmeyer, the head coach of California. And he talked a lot about that league, and I know we missed you sorely, Adrian. Where
That's all right, man.
He gave you some love, also
Hey,
chirped you a little
all
bit.
All love, baby. All love.
But with that being said, I bring that up because he talked a lot about De La Salle. He focused his one game at a time, and he mentioned going into that is a perfect timing for that interview. Going into that De La Salle game, we tried to ask him, talk about that whole league, and he did. But his focus was, he goes, we're focused on De La Salle, one game at a time. We're focused on De La Salle. So if you haven't watched that, highly recommend you go back and watch that from the previous episode. But that league is insane, and not to mention Dane Wallace. Again, we talked a lot about Dane in that episode too for that Cal team. Put up 23 points against De La Salle. I mean, game in and game out, he shows up for that team and really leads them. And the thing is, they're versatile across the board. But Dane Wallace, when it matters, he shows up. Man,
you know what? Him not playing last season really, really hurt Cal. And, hey, now we're seeing why Dane Wallace is so pivotal for this team. He really, really runs the offense for Cal. And, man, I'll tell you right now, this is the best California team, at least since I've been here. Right, I've been here for a very long time, and
a little while,
but I mean, we gotta check. I don't know when the last time Cal beat De La Salle.
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
You think, as podcast host and co-host, we'd be prepared for that? I'm gonna put that one on you.
That's my bad, but still, though, it's still a big win.
No, it's a big win.
Yep.
And so, like we said, so with that win, Cal against De La Salle, just to cover that league, SRV is in first by one game.
Yep, they won the regular season title, and so now they are the first automatic bid for the NTS.
And then we have a three-way tie
for second place.
Between Doherty Valley, De La Salle, and Cal.
Yeah.
Absolute chaos in the East Bay League.
Well, I mean, everyone's beating. Like I said, man, like a few weeks ago, this is like World War 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is, I mean, this week, this is probably going to be World War 16, 17, 19, 25, it's insane. Insane.
It is insane without a doubt. Now, I want to go on over to another crazy league, specifically the Diablo League.
Yes.
That is just as much as chaotic as well as the East Bay League. East Bay League is a different monster in itself, but Diablo has its fair share of competition too.
Yes.
Specifically, we had the Battle of the Creek. It's timeless. That last week where Las Lomas took on Northgate, and Northgate was able to get it done by a score of 11-point differential, 54-43.
And you know what? Jake was there at the game last week, and hey, you know what? Northgate was kind of playing the spoiler a little bit for Las Lomas because, Las Lomas had an outside shot. I mean, obviously they needed some help to win the regular season title. But, Northgate, man, there's spoilers, and wow, Battle of the Creek, I mean, you can't get any bigger than that, at least for that league, besides probably Campo and Miramonte, right? I mean, you know how big that rivalry is. But, man, shout out to Northgate. Man.
Broncos country.
Broncos country, let's ride.
I think we need a new saying. I think that's old,
Well,
Russell's on the Steelers now, Broncos.
That's true.
I don't know. We'll figure something out.
So should it be Steelers country? Let's ride. Okay.
No. We're talking about the Broncos here. A big game, like you said,
Yes.
in an insane league where, again, I started this episode by saying every game counts, and it matters truly. And so for Northgate to come in and get that game under their belt is huge.
Yes.
And I can only imagine the turnout. I mean, it's always a great turnout.
Packed.
Battle of the Creek is a full house there. And when I say imagine, I mean, I just know the environment. I wish I was there to that. The energy.
Let me tell you, man, these rivalry games, man, you can't miss it. And it just sucks that only one of us gets to shoot a rivalry game. Like we weren't even in the Monte Vista San Ramon Valley game last week, and that always has like a good crowd.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, hey, you know what? The student section, man, shout out to them. They stormed the court. I mean, hats off to them, man. They beat.
I know we had a couple cool angles from our social media and producer guy for the podcast, Nikon, where he got some cool angles of student section storming the court and those big upsets, whether it was Dublin, Doherty Valley, Cal, De La Salle. I mean, both those student sections going crazy, right?
Yeah.
And so, absolutely. So now, again, the whole premise of this episode is league chaos. So I'm going to take us into another preview, right?
Well, I guess the Diablo Athletic League is more of a controlled chaos.
Controlled
chaos. Because I mean, Acalanes came into the week. Listen, all they had to do was win out, and they were going to be regular season champs, right? I mean, it's not as crazy as the East Bay League. Not as crazy.
Sure.
Not as crazy as we're probably gonna. I guess we can segue into this.
But go ahead.
The Mount Hamilton Girls Basketball League.
Absolutely.
That's chaotic too.
And let me show you what type of chaos is really in there right now. The standings as it is right now is that we have Evergreen Valley and Christopher both tied for first at 7-3. We have Prospect at 6-2 and Branham at 5-4. So those are your top 4 teams in that league. And on top of that, in case that wasn't exciting enough for you, we have both Christopher and Prospect playing each other tomorrow night, Tuesday night. Oh, my
goodness. See, this is such a dilemma because, I really want to get that game in, but there's so many big games.
It's so hard to get them all.
So many big games. It's like, you can only shoot so many. And, Evergreen Valley, and I know a couple weeks ago we were talking about them possibly being in the Open Division. Well, I covered their game against Christopher, and, and here we go. Now it's chaotic because they lost to Christopher at Christopher, then they lose to Branham, and so now it's like they go from hey we're kind of coasting along, we're probably gonna win league undefeated, and now there's possibly a 3-way tie to end league play possibly.
Now let me ask you this: I'm going to put you in a position here. Who's your pick out of that league? Because I mean that is a tight league that anything happens, especially after tomorrow night's game, Tuesday night's game with Christopher and Prospect. Who's your favorite out of that league?
I think Christopher, man. Christopher's been on fire recently. I mean, it all started with beating Evergreen Valley on.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was a senior night. It was like
at Christopher.
It was at Christopher. It was like
But now I'm going to interrupt you to remind you that those two they're even. They've even scored. Evergreen hosted Christopher early in the season, beat them at home. Evergreen went on the road.
Yeah.
At Christopher, lost them, which I predicted both those games correctly, just to remind you.
Here we go.
But with that being said, is that they even the score, right? So I mean. It's a tough pick there, but you're taking Christopher out of that one.
I'm taking Christopher to win the league. Again, we could finish tied for league. We could finish with a 3-way tie because Prospect has 2 less games, so they have 4 more games left in the schedule. I think Evergreen Valley and Christopher, they have 2 games left. Yep. So, man, what is going on with this league?
It's so fun. I mean,
this is what you call chaos.
Yeah, chaos. Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
So let's move on then to another league with the Anza Division boys. Again, more chaos. You mentioned it in your views from the lens of Pally and Milpitas playing each other. Both those teams neck and neck at first place. Again, another tied for first. A lot of ties going on across these leagues, right? Man. And then right behind them, 3 games back is Wilcox, and just 2 games back is Los Gatos. And both those teams of Pally and Milpitas, Palo Alto and Milpitas, have to play
Wilcox and Los Gatos
to finish their season. 3 games left, and they both can play both those teams. So anything can happen.
Anything can definitely happen. I think that Los Gatos game for both Pally and Milpitas will be the difference, right? I think Scotty's back. I'm not exactly sure because he started league play. He was out with a broken hand, but Los Gatos. You cannot sleep on Los Gatos. They're a good, well-coached team, and I know Milpitas kind of had trouble with them a little bit to start league play, and now they got to play Los Gatos on the road. That's a tough environment. It's very tough environment. I think Wilcox, good team this year. I think Pally and Milpitas both beat Wilcox pretty handedly, and I think Pally's gonna beat Mountain View to end league play, and Milpitas will beat Los Altos. So I really think that Los Gatos game for both of those teams will be the difference.
I agree, but with a little more focus on Wilcox as those, you have to think about, I wouldn't go as far to say that they have nothing to play for, right? Because they absolutely are still in this league race without a doubt. But there's nothing scarier for a first-place team than playing one of those lower-ranking teams in a league, right? Because they're there to spoil. I mean, if you lose to Wilcox, Milpitas or Palo Alto loses to Wilcox, that could change everything, right? And I mean, there's nothing scarier in the saying being than playing a team that has nothing to play for. They have everything to play for. Them, that's a championship game. Might as well be because that can rocket them up.
And, I mean, now I know we have about a week and a half left for at least the CCS, right? And then, playoffs. So, this has a lot of playoff implications. And, hey, can you say it's probably a trap game?
A trap game.
Maybe it's a trap game,
Could be. I would love to see Wilcox be the sleeper team to come from behind. I mean, they're 3 games back, but they got 3 games left on the season.
Exactly. You never know. You never know what can happen.
You know how much I love it. I mean, that'd be beyond chaos. We talk about controlled chaos, World War, whatever. I mean, so that'd be great to see, right? So I would love to see it. I love an underdog story. Yeah. And again, only 3 games back to emphasize.
3 games back.
Okay, let's go ahead and dive into the EBAL bracket. We talked about the absolute mess in the best way possible of the East Bay League.
And you know what? They had to wait until the last series of games to really make this chaotic.
It is.
They had to wait until the last.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes, and we're all here for it. So, Adrian, I want to dish it off to you though. Kind of take me through this bracket and the seeding and how it's going to be looking.
Okay. Well, since SRV beat Monte Vista on Friday, they are the #1 seed in the league tournament. Doherty Valley is the 2 seed, even though they lost to Dublin. And the reason they're the 2 seed is they beat Cal and De La Salle, right? That's why they're the 2 seed. Both of those teams have a bye to the semifinal, so they don't play until, I think, Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Cal is the 3 seed because they beat De La Salle, which is the 4 seed. So Cal and De La Salle, they have a bye until the quarterfinals, right? So I guess did you really expect Cal to be in the top 4? Probably not.
I disagree.
No, but
I disagree.
They're a good team. They're a good team, right? But
this is why Coach Olmeyer says you're too focused on Crumble, because you're not paying attention to his team and saying he's not.
I like a Crumble cookie.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I had to throw that in.
That's
there.
okay.
But, so you say you didn't expect Cal to be in that top 4.
I mean, listen, they're a good team, but you look at the East Bay League, you look at Dublin.
Sure.
Right, Dublin always has a good team. Obviously, De La Salle, Doherty, and San Ramon Valley. Right, Monte Vista was probably going to contend for a top 4, top 5 spot. So again, chaotic, especially in the last week of or last series of games. And you know what? If all goes well, guess what? SFV's gotta beat De La Salle in the semifinal, and De La Salle beat him the first time.
Yeah,
but this game is at SRV now.
Exactly.
So.
A lot can happen in that league, and so we actually have an inside informant of that East Bay League, especially in the De La Salle side of things, and as well as the greater East Bay League. We had the chance to sit down and interview a former De La Salle player, as well as a NorCal All-Star player that played with Jason Kidd.
NBA champion.
No big deal. Do your homework if you don't know who that is. Look him up. And then as well as he currently works for De La Salle TV and NFHS Network.
All right.
Covering heavily of the East Bay League in particular, right? With all that in the De La Salle TV stuff. So with that being said, this is Stephen Shea, who took some time to talk to us a little bit about this East Bay League tournament. Go ahead and give it a watch.
Well, I think my Spartans, they gotta ball out. They gotta really, take a lot of pride in defending the basketball and running these other teams from the EBAL off the 3-point line, or else they're going to get shot out as from I mean, everybody can shoot the basketball in the EBAL. Cal proved it against De La Salle by, running up 54 points through 3 quarters. De La Salle usually allows less than 44 points per game. And then if you let San Ramon get clean looks from 3, you might as well pack your bags. And same with the Cadillac, Jalen Stokes. I mean, you give that guy a look from deep, he's water. I mean, he's unbelievable to watch play. So I'm excited to see what happens in the EBAL. I think it's going to be a real shootout. I think it's going to be super exciting basketball, and I'm looking forward to getting a chance to broadcast some of these games.
That was good stuff. I mean, that was awesome. I mean, to be able to get that insight from Shea is real special. So it should be a fun and exciting tournament.
Man, hey, the race to the playoffs. Here we go, baby.
We love
This is
it.
the most exciting part of the season.
Yeah, are those league race running shoes, playoff running shoes? You got those?
I mean, I don't know if you could run with these shoes, but they're pretty nice shoes.
They're pretty nice.
They're pretty nice.
They're great. Okay. All right. Now, the Diablo League. Final games are happening today.
Yep.
Here we are. We're recording on a Monday. So all these games are going to be happening today. And, I mean, there's a lot that can happen. But I want to dish it off to you again here.
Yeah.
I want you to kind of take me through the top 4 teams through there.
Sorry. So heading into the final games, right? Aklan has already won the regular season, right?
Locked.
So locked in 10-1. Las Lomas 9-2. And this is on Aklan's Twitter, by the way. Shout out to them. They always tag us. Always helps us out, man. Again, very, very.
The Dons.
The Dons, baby. Camp Lindo is 7-3. College Park 7-3. Ignacio Valley 6-3. Clayton Valley 6-3. Northgate 7-4. So that's your standings coming into the final series of games tonight as we're recording this. So Aklan is obviously the number 1 seed. Las Lomas is number 2, and then you start getting a little bit crazy with 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? I mean, Camp was 7-3, College Park 7-3, Ignacio 6-3, Clayton Valley 6-3. I mean, listen, Aklan is going to make the tournament final. Yep. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. They're a good team. But now you start thinking, who's going to be in the semifinal? Las Lomas, maybe Camp Lindo. College Park really impressed me. I think they're going to make the semifinal. They have this freshman, Miles Cooper. I mean, this kid took College Park down 20, and they had a shot at winning the game last week against Campo.
And balled.
I mean, this kid just balled out. I mean, unconscious. I mean, obviously, this guy was hitting threes. I'm like, this is actually a game now.
You hear about players, they black out, and they go on those runs.
He's a freshman.
Yeah.
He's a freshman. I think, you know what? I think.
What's in the water for these freshmen? I think about Caitlin Mills, in San Ramon Valley. We talk about your guy from College Park and these freshmen. I mean,
they just.
I was running a 6'6" as a freshman in high school, a 40-yard dash.
Listen,
these kids aren't running
freshman in high school, I was in geometry class.
Yeah.
I wasn't playing basketball.
Point is, these kids are insane, right? So College Park is a favorite of yours, though.
I think College Park can make the final game.
So to be clear, you have Akalani's College Park,
Camp Lindo, and probably Ignacio Valley.
Antonio Kellogg Jr. That's the guy right there.
That's a controlled chaos league.
Sure.
But I think, I'm picking College Park as my dark horse to make the final game.
I'm torn. I'll start with my dark horse. I'm really torn between College Park and Northgate. Something about Northgate, I really have a strong feeling about them. But if I have to pick one, I would agree with your College Park. I do see them as a dark horse. I see them racing through to the front of the back there, being able to make it to that final 4, along with Ignacio Valley.
Okay.
Antonio Kellogg Jr. has always stood out to me. He's a big leader for that team. And I mean, they're not super flashy, but they get it done. And that's what I like about them at the end of the day. And then lastly, the 2 locks being Acalanes and Las Lomas for me.
Yeah.
At the top of the pack.
I mean, now is the time for Ignacio Valley to, hey, put the pedal to the metal. I mean, obviously they had a tough non-league schedule. So, hey, now this is where the experience of playing tough games, playing Salesian, this is it right here. You're in league playoffs. You got NCS playoffs next week and, potentially NorCal playoffs if they get really far in sections. Now is the time to really, really, lock in for all these teams, actually,
All these teams locking in. We've talked a lot about the NCS. I want to move down to the CCS, particularly the Open Division coming up here. Boys and girls. If there's one area you're incredibly knowledgeable, Adrian, I do think it's your CCS knowledge, especially when it comes to the Open, stuff like that. So kind of take me through predicting this playoff bracket. We'll start with the girls. How's that sound? Girls Open Division.
I mean, for sure, Midi and Pinewood, they're shoo-ins.
Are they good?
Well, I mean, they're both. I mean, listen, Midi, even though McKenna's not playing, listen, they're still well coached.
They're still
well coached.
Exactly.
I think what I'm saying, what I would say about Midi girls is, different game, different hero. You just don't know who's gonna step up and have a big game. But at the end of the day, they get the job done. They get the wins, and I think they just had their 100 consecutive West Catholic League victory.
Whoa.
They haven't. So that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
Right.
No, without doubt.
Pinewood, obviously. Pinewood's got a shot to win the Open Division this year. Pinewood is really, really good. I mean, ball movement, and you've covered them. I know
Handful
early in the
yep.
season, right? But ball movement, docs coaching, just I think Valley Christian girls, man. Valley Christian girls might be there. St. Francis girls, they're having a really good season, and Reardon girls basketball. I did not see this guy. I mean, they're still a fairly new program because they just became a co-ed school, I think, a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to have a very successful girls basketball program at, like 2-3 years since becoming a co-ed school, that's impressive. It's very, very
It's very impressive. So with that, that's Dub Cal heavy, without a doubt. With the exclusion of Pinewood, I mean, you almost went through the entire West Catholic League.
And again, they're the best team. They're the best league in this section, right?
Sure.
I mean, there's really, we talked about Evergreen Valley potentially.
So that's what I was going to ask you.
division.
Yeah, who's kind of your dark horse pick out of that? If you have to exclude the Dub Cal, I mean, I feel like teams like
really
Evergreen
tough.
Valley.
Maybe, I think, who's winning in the DNs? I think Los Gatos. I think.
Yep.
Los Gatos might have a shot there. Now, can you say the Mount Hamilton? That's really I think they just miss.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, Evergreen Valley was well on the way, and then they lost to Christopher, lost to Brandon, so that kind of took them out of contention. So that's really, really tough. I mean, who do you pick? Who do you pick out of teams that are not WCAL?
Right.
Besides,
It's true. These are powerhouse teams out of the Dub Cal. It's a different breed in its own. But it's the smaller schools in comparison, are these public schools, right? In Mount Hamilton Division, for example,
Exactly.
like the Evergreen Valleys that I see, they are about grit and pushing through. Not that these Dub Cal teams aren't, but they're about,
Yeah.
it's David and Goliath
Exactly.
to an extent, right?
Oh, you know
and
what?
they want those matchups. They want those kind of games.
I'll put Woodside Priory in that too.
Oh,
Woodside Priory,
okay.
who lost the second game, they lost to Pinewood by like 7 points again.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, margin.
Now listen, Pinewood's a good team.
Running with
But
Pinewood.
Priory
by 7.
is a pretty damn good team too.
Yeah.
So I think they're in the open, and I think Menlo Atherton
I was going to say
girls.
Menlo. I was shocked you haven't
I
mentioned
think
yet.
MA girls will be in the open division, right? They're probably gonna win league outright as long as they win out.
Yep.
Right. They beat Hillsdale last week. I was there for senior night, and they really put the pedal to the metal in the second half. So I think MA will be in the open division, probably as like the eighth seed. You know, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a good looking open for the girls. Let's shift gears. Let's go from first gear to second gear to the boys now.
Okay.
Take me through that open division.
So
what
this
that looks
one,
like.
I guess you can say it's tougher, right? Yep. Reardon obviously is the number 1 seed. Listen, if Reardon is the number 2 seed, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but best team in Northern California.
They are a singular all-star team. I mean, I know we touched about it a little bit before when we did our starting 5, and the comments all came down to saying you could literally just take the Reardon starting 5, right? That team is insane.
And their bench
is deep.
Good, deep too.
It's deep. It's insane the squad that they have there. So
they have
absolutely. So your lock is Reardon for sure.
They have
no
10,
question.
They have like 10 NBA 2K creative players. Seriously, they have 10 creative. If you go to 2K and you create a player, make 10 of those. That's Reardon.
Yep.
That's Reardon.
I'm with you there.
Okay.
No, they're impressive.
St. Ignatius number 2. I think they're second in league. I would probably put Valley Christian. Valley Christian's been really impressive this year.
Sure.
Valley Christian at number 3. No, not St. Francis. Maybe Bellarmine.
Really?
I think
Bellarmine.
Bellarmine beat SI.
Yeah.
Now I get it. It's at Bellarmine, but hey, listen. They beat St. Ignatius, and they pretty handily beat St. Ignatius.
Yeah.
Right. I would put Midi in there. Midi. Now I think they're having a down season, but they took SI to overtime last week.
Yeah.
So it took a Vince Chris game-winning shot to beat Midi. So I think Midi's in there. Now you start looking at who is gonna make it outside of the West Catholic League.
There we go. That's what I like to talk about. The West Catholic leagues are safe.
I think
Christopher.
Now
Jackson
I will
Robinson,
say
hello.
this. I will give Ethan Castle credit. I had a chance to kind of talk to him a little bit last week at Milpitas because he was covering that game, and he told me, hey, Christopher might have a shot. I mean, listen, they're dominating the league. They're dominating the league right now, and Jackson Robinson, that league doesn't really have an answer for him because he's so tall, and it's like how can you defend him? Yeah, all you gotta do is
he's a beast.
Feed Jackson inside, and he'll just lay it in.
They had a big win against Santa Teresa last week.
Exactly.
Too, so.
And I think they beat Westmont a couple weeks ago, and I
did.
think we're shooting that again this week.
Right.
So
and Jackson Robinson's a force in every single one of those games, without a doubt.
And
not to mention he came out of the All-Star game, the Charlie Wiedemeyer All-Star game. He goes from the hardwood back to the football field, dominates on the football field, going back to the hardwood and dominates Santa Teresa.
You know what? I gotta ask him. How did you find time to practice basketball, go to the All-Star game practice, and practice football? Like, I need to know how he did it. I know Alec Blair does it like during basketball and baseball season, but they have that's during school, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of during school. I mean, Jackson playing football, that's not
I think
a daunting task.
I think with the mention of Jackson, I think Christopher does have a very good shot at that open division.
I think so.
For Chris.
I think so. And I was gonna say Pally, right? And then they lost to Milpitas. So now,
one game. Do you think one game really writes the script? Oh, wow.
Yes, I believe so because Milpitas has some good wins this season, right? Milpitas, they beat St. Mary's of Stockton.
Now, is this coming from a biased standpoint or unbiased?
No, not a biased standpoint. I mean, Ethan Castle also kind of agreed with me a little bit, and he was like, oh, maybe Milpitas is in that conversation now because they beat Pally by a blowout. They didn't just beat Pally by 7 or 5 points.
Yeah.
They beat Pally by 20 plus, I believe, last week.
Yeah, put a whopper
So that
on it.
vaults Milpitas into the conversation of possibly making it to the open division. Now, I know they're a good team this year, right? They beat St. Mary's. I mean, probably their worst loss is to San Mateo, and San Mateo is a pretty good B League team. Right. And they're competing for a league title this week. Against Sequoia. So is it really a bad loss? I don't think so. So I would put Milpitas in that conversation. Palo Alto's in that conversation. I think Christopher's in. Again, there's still about a week away. So things can change like the East Bay League. But I think that's what we have right now is, again, West Catholic League heavy. And hey, you know what? Put the Kings Academy in that conversation too.
AKA, hello. Welcome to the conversation.
Put the Kings Academy in the conversation because they not only beat Sacred Heart Prep on the road, they blew them out. Yeah. That's an impressive win.
They got a great program.
It was a close game the first time.
Yeah, they have a great program. I mean, I feel like my head is spinning. I mean, we this open division is crazy. We talked about the Diablo League. We talked about the East Bay League. I mean, and that didn't even cover her at all. I mean, it's insane how much we have going on here. So many crucial games coming down to the wire, and so much still to happen and cover.
And you know what? It's such a shame, I guess, that there's so many good games out there that we're not even covering. Right. It's like, but we can only cover so many games.
You could bet that it'll be mentioned at least on Covered Cal High. That it'll be covered there. We may not be actually shooting it, covering it for the show, but probably next week's episode. I'm sure.
Honestly, this is, I guess, kind of a hot take. I kind of wish we're kind of back into that COVID part of like the show because there was 1 week where we covered 20 games on the show. I know it's a hot take, but just
it's a
being
boiling
able to
hot take.
I know, just being able to cover 20 games on the show, right? I kind of want that back.
Sure.
It's just,
hey, Age, if you want, you could go shoot them and just upload them to YouTube. They won't make it on the show, but you can put it on YouTube. By all means,
Why
go
not?
for it.
Why not? We may do that. We may do that tomorrow. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, nose goes, and there's only 2 of us.
Oh man,
just
I'm too
the
slow.
2 of us.
Oh,
just kidding.
You want to do karaoke?
No, absolutely not. Okay, let's go into one of my favorite segments.
Oh my, okay.
And I'm gonna tell you why it's my favorite segment.
Because you're beating me.
Because I'm winning.
Yeah, you're beating me.
I am 5-3. We're going into our game picks. We're making our predictions for upcoming games. I'm 5-3. Your record is so bad, it's not even mentioned on here. But with that being said,
how many wins do I have, man?
But let's go ahead and to remind you, in case you forgot. You can't audible. You can't pick games. You get to pick just
I remember now. I remember this time. No audibles.
That's old content.
No Tom Brady last-minute changes.
Nope. Don't
Shout out to Tom Brady, by the way.
Okay. I'm sure he appreciates that one.
Okay.
Anyway, let's go into our first one. We got Hayward and Mount Eden.
This
Boys
is a tough
hoops.
game. This is a very
Tough
tough game to pick. I was here. I was at this game the first time at Hayward, and boy, that was packed. And this is also our Rumble for the Crumble cookie game of the week.
Shout out Jake Vanderbrook.
Shout out Jake Vanderbrook. Unfortunately, I can't have a cookie in that box. You know, as much as I'd love to. I love crumble. I'm gonna pick. This is so tough. I'm gonna pick Mount Eden.
Mount Eden.
I'm
Wow.
gonna-
I thought
think-
for sure you're going Hayward the way
No,
you started.
It's such a tough game. This is a rivalry game. This is for the league title.
Is this their second meeting this
This is
season?
their second meeting,
And Hayward beat them last
Hayward
time.
beat them, but that was at Hayward,
At home.
right? So it was gonna be packed. This is gonna be crazy. I can't wait for this game, but I'm picking Mount Eden.
All right.
Mount
That's
Eden.
It's a great pick. Usually as the host doesn't pick, but just to improve my record, I'm here to build a legacy and
Okay.
stats and boost my stats, so I have to make
All
a
right.
pick. I think Hayward's got their number down. I think Hayward
right.
beat them once. They're going to do it again. I know I've talked about the Christopher Evergreen Valley dynamic where you go back and forth,
Yeah.
even the score right. And I'm sure it's going to be a tight game, especially with home court advantage for Mount Eden. They want their revenge.
Yes.
But I'm taking Hayward in that one. They got their number, and they're going to be able
And
to do it.
I don't blame you, man. This is a tough game to pick.
Yeah, it's
very,
a hard
very
one.
tough game to pick.
That's the name of the game.
There you go.
All right, another big one. Probably one of my favorite matchups in all of California in
Who's
basketball.
got this game?
One of them.
Who's got this game?
Aubrey, AT.
Oh,
She'll
my
be there.
word. I'm
That's a
jealous.
Chick-fil-A.
Oh my!
With that
Chick-fil-A
being
too?
that game is Chick-fil-A.
I'm jealous,
schedule.
man.
You know the schedule. Come on now. We have Oakland Tech at Oakland, at Ojai, and this is their second meeting.
It is.
OT won in their last meeting at OT. It was a tight matchup, and it always is. I mean, I
is.
don't know if they've had many games where it hasn't been close, right? Well,
Not that I know. Not that I can remember.
Right. We probably won't have Marshawn Lynch at this game. He was there last time. But anyway, with
Oh,
that being
man.
said, that Ojai, Ojai wants revenge.
You know what? Damian Lillard might be at this game.
He might be at that
Wednesday. Oh yeah, he might be at this game because the All-Star Weekend thing is at
Right.
in
game. It's
Chase Center.
That's
He
right.
may be at this game, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if when the Bucks play their last game before the All-Star break.
All right. Enough about the All-Stars. I need you to make a pick. You're
Oakland Tech.
procrastinating. Whoa. Wasting
Picking
no
Oakland
time.
Tech. I'm picking Oakland Tech.
Why?
I think Oakland Tech's got Oakland's number, man. Listen, I know it's at Oakland. I know it's gonna be packed. I know
Yeah.
the rivalry game, but man, Oakland Tech has been so impressive this season. Darius Grayson, boy, am I regretting not picking him in my starting five.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is. I mean, you talk about Miles Cooper unconscious. This kid is confidence just oozing out of him. Not afraid to take the big shot. I'm
Sure.
picking Oakland Tech.
All right. I like the pick.
I know you're picking Oakland Tech too. Don't be picking Oakland now.
All right. All right. So, without a doubt, we got our Darius Grayson first overall
Yes.
pick, like we talked about. My starting
Yes.
five. He isn't Jake's starting five. You made a poor mistake not picking him.
That's so tough though, man.
Oakland Tech is a real deal. They've won how many of their last matchups? They won this past matchup. They won against them last season.
They
and
win all 3 games last season.
They
right?
won all 3 last
I
season.
think the last time they lost
2 of the 3
to,
guaranteed.
I think the last time they lost to Oakland was the NorCal D2 game or D3 game at Laney a couple years ago.
Years ago. Oakland
That was
Tech,
the last time Oakland beat Oakland Tech. I believe.
Oakland Tech has Ojai's number, and Darius Grayson has Ojai's number.
I have a feeling where this is gonna go.
You know exactly where this is gonna go.
You're gonna pick Oakland.
Oakland Tech
Okay.
is falling to Ojai finally.
Oh my
finally, it's gonna
God.
happen.
Okay.
Ojai.
Well, it's gonna happen
wants
at some
the
point, right?
revenge.
It's gonna happen at
It
some
has to
point.
happen. Ojai's
So we're
fed up.
switching
They're
picks this time.
done.
We're
They're
switching
done.
picks
And it
this
hurts
time.
me. It pains me. All love to Tech and Darius Grayson. They got a great ball program, and so does Ojai. They have a fantastic program.
Yes.
They're so even across the board in their talent. Ojai wants revenge. They're hungry. Both teams are
Yes.
starving, but Ojai
Yeah.
wants it more. And they want the revenge. They're going to get in, get it done at home
Okay.
in front of a loud and rowdy
Oh
crowd.
man, I'll tell you,
Get there early.
Gotta get there early, man. Gotta get there before.
We'll see if we can get the cow there, huh? The Chick-fil-A cow?
Let's see what happens, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. But it's all set up for Oakland Tech.
Yeah.
So
We'll see. Maybe that's the one you get me back, where you get it right and I get it wrong for
man,
once. I've got it wrong a
again,
couple
I don't
times.
blame you with this pick.
Okay, let's move on. Speaking of Oakland Tech girls are
Against
on
Bishop
the
O'Dowd.
road against Bishop O'Dowd.
Oakland Tech.
Oakland Tech.
Have
Why?
to pick. Man, again, another good team, right? How can you stop the Twin Towers.
Sure.
Terry A. Russell and Jai Johnson. How do you stop that? You can't stop it.
Play
Can't
defense.
stop it. Good luck.
I know.
No, nothing against Bishop O'Dowd, but Tech's gonna win this game.
I know. You're usually a BOD favorite too. You usually show a little favoritism towards
I love Bishop O'Dowd though. I
Yeah.
love Bishop O'Dowd.
I know you do.
Shout out to Carlos.
Who?
Carlos, the AD.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Very, very nice guy. Man.
Okay, you're taking Tech.
I'm
taking the
taking Tech.
Dogs. Go
Taking Tech.
Dogs.
Yep.
I'm taking O'Dowd. I'm taking the Dragons.
Oh boy. Oh.
I
Man, and
think
you know I'm gonna catch up this week.
you are. I mean, yeah,
I'm catching
I
up
could
this
be
week.
making some mistakes here, but something tells me I'm not. My gut
Okay.
tells me I'm feeling strong about it. Feeling strong about those Dragons, the home court advantage again, and they want that game. Tech is the favorite there in a lot of cases, I would argue. But again, it's just when you have a starving team that wants those wins, needs those wins late in the season,
Yes.
at home, that's the time and the place to get it done. I'm taking O'Dowd against OT.
All right. Last game.
Last but not least, of girls hoops again, we got the Kings Academy. As I
The
always say.
Kings Academy.
There it goes. Yeah, I didn't do it as good as you. We got the Kings Academy at Harker. Harker's running hot. We got who had that nasty crossover that we posted on our social
Isabella
media?
Lowe.
Isabella
Oh, by the
Lowe
way, I think this-
going low for the three.
I'm picking Harker.
Harker.
Harker, baby. I love the Harker school, man, and they've always been very nice to us. But you know that shouldn't matter. I'm picking the Harker girls.
Yeah. We had the chance to get him at the Riker Center last week too, so we
Yes.
got to know him a little better, outside of the basketball court. So I mean, they're a tight, cohesive unit, and they're smart with the basketball. And so with that, I hate to say it, but we might have a push because I'm taking Harker
Okay.
as well.
I think is Coach Deniza still the coach at Harker? Congratulations to her. She's I think she posted on her Instagram there. So congratulations, baby on the way for her. Congratulations.
Oh, that's awesome! I had no clue.
Congratulations.
That's great. Congratulations to Coach. So.
Still picking Harker.
And we're still taking Harker on top of both of us. I mean, they're a great
Okay,
program
so this is
there.
the push.
This
is
is
the one
This
push.
is probably going to be the push.
Okay.
Regardless of the result, right?
I'm coming
But-
back, man. I'm telling you right now.
All right, hey, I'm
coming
ready for you. We'll have to.
I'm telling you, Mount Eden's gonna win, and both Tech basketball teams are gonna win.
All right, you better hope so.
I'm
Do you
confident.
know your record? Do you even know what you're at?
I don't know. I have at least 2 wins.
At least.
At least 2
That's
wins.
all you're giving yourself. I might have given you 3.
I'm
but
underselling myself.
I know we'll have to go. I don't have a note for it here in our rundown, but we'll have to go back and look, and we'll do a recount. We'll do a full recount come the
Okay.
next episode. We'll get our good man Jake back too
That's
the
right.
next episode, hopefully. So, just the two of us. This has been fun,
Man, we should do this every day.
Every day, just the two of us. You're
down.
gonna leave Jake out, kick him to the
No,
curb?
no. I mean, we should do the podcast every day. Because
Whoa.
I mean,
Whoa.
I'm down, man. Let's just just
right.
do it if we have time. Let's do
Well,
it.
With that being said, I think it's safe to say.
Are you
let's
gonna
see if
do
I
the-
as
are you gonna
Jake.
do the
I'm gonna
toss?
try. Let's see.
Oh, where's the
With that
one
being
shot? Are you
said-
gonna do in the one shot?
You then covered. It's low.
Hey, you know what? That's all right though. It's okay.